What's up, everybody? This is Roman from the Real Cinema Squad, and I am here to review the third and fourth episode of the second season of Criminal Minds Evolution. You guys asked for it, so here it is. We're going to be a little all over the place in this one because a lot happened in these two episodes. First things first, the cliffhanger of episode 2 was that Elias Voit whispered something to Agent Luke Alves that got him fired up to the point where he was ready to strangle Elias Voit through the bars of the jail cell. So we thought, oh, this obviously has to be something huge. And so far, this is the most confusing part of the season to me because we found out in episode 3 that there has been a deep fake pornography site that somebody has created called BAU Gate, and it's apparently been around for years. We learned that from Agent Prentice, but now it's news all of a sudden that it is still running, and now Jennifer Jarreau, or JJ, is the center of most of this deep fake adult content on this site. And so far, it is not paying any dividends. I don't know if it will, other than messing with JJ's head and taking her attention. It seemed like a detail that was a little bit out of left field in what's otherwise been a strong season so far. So maybe it'll pay off, maybe it won't, but it seemed a little bit strange considering that we were told that this site has been around for years, and why Agent Alves would get that fired up at that piece of information given to him by Elias Voigt. I'm not sure why. Voigt made a request in that same episode that he would help the BAU with their investigation into Gold Star at the instruction of the director of the FBI if he was allowed to see his family. We learned that since the conclusion of season 1, Elias's wife and daughters have gone into witness protection. So JJ and Luke are then forced to go to where the family is located, make a request of his wife Sydney if they would be willing to come in and talk to Voight. And at first, his wife refuses, saying that, oh, we've been traumatized. We don't want to be here any more than we have to, but he put us here. It's his fault. We don't want to do this. But then JJ convinces her, like, we need his help on a case, and he's only agreed to help us if he can see you, and it could save lives. And so Sydney agrees, I will bring the girls and we will come see him, but only if I can talk to him alone. First, during this visit, Luke discovers that Voight's oldest daughter, Holly, has been self-harming. That will play in later in episode 4. Another thread in this whole story is we still don't know who or what Gold Star is. Agent Prentice reconnected with an old neighbor who had become kind of an online conspiracy theory guy. Their words, not mine. And his name is Brian Garrity. And he claims that the director of the FBI, who we saw in a previous episode, tell Agent Prentice that you will work with Elias Voigt. Brian Garrity claimed that the director of the FBI made a deal with Elias Voigt to catch Gold Star. Prentice says, okay, I need more information on this. I'll meet you at this specific parking garage. And when Prentice shows up at the parking garage to meet with Garrity, there are multiple men there assaulting him. They're kicking him on the ground of the parking garage, and Prentice tries to intervene and the men run away. And then the police show up as Prentice is helping Brian Garrity with his wounds. He's pretty beat up at this point. But when the police ask Brian Garrity who attacked him, he pointed at Prentice and said she did it. That's basically where the third episode left off. Prentice is being arrested for the assault of Brian Garrity. So then that takes us to episode 4. Prentice is released from prison, and shortly after that, Garrity contacts her to apologize. He told her he had to blame her because he is now on the inside with Gold Star, and they forced him to say that it was her. Prentice immediately gets worried and says, "You're not on the inside. You're not one of them. They're tricking you. You're in danger." But Garrity tells her that he'll contact her again when his investigation is complete, and he hangs up the phone. Back to Elias Voigt. Voigt's wife arrives and tells him that he can only see his daughters if he tells them goodbye. He's here talking about, oh, I made a deal. I can get out in time to see Harlow graduate or walk Holly down the aisle at her wedding. Those are his two daughters. And the wife says, no, you can only see them if you say goodbye. You have scarred them. This is not where we're going into witness protection forever. So you can either see them and say goodbye or not see them at all. And Voight reluctantly agrees so that they'll come to see him. He says he'll only do it if he can hug them one more time, make contact. And so when they do show up, his youngest daughter Harlow runs inside the cell and hugs him. Immediately, we learned that the girls were told that he was in prison because he shot at a law enforcement officer. And obviously, we saw that that's not the truth, but that's what the girls were told, probably to spare them from the truth. When Elias asked for Holly to come and hug him, she says no. He says, "Take your time. I know this is hard. Say what you want to." And she said, "I don't want to say it. I wrote it." She hands him a letter that she wrote and she says, "Read it out loud." And he opens the letter and he looks at her and she dares him, "Read it out loud." And when he does, the letter that Holly wrote tells him that she knows that he's a serial killer and he killed all these people. We come to find out later that she had overheard her mother talking to police and knew about the storage locker and all these things. The letter says that she knew he was a serial killer. He immediately says that's not true. This sends Holly over the edge, and she runs in the cell, charges at him, and attempts to stab him, but is quickly restrained. And once they leave, Alves uses this to his advantage in one of the best scenes of the season so far. Episode 4 was very tense, and I really liked that. And so Alves says it's terrible when you see your worst traits passed on to your children. Some people pass on addiction, some people pass on cancer, but you passed on you, saying that Holly was just like Elias and had the instincts to be a killer. And this obviously angers Elias Voigt, and he says, "Look, if you want me to tell you that I'm Sicarius, even though I'm not, just so you can lock me up, I'll let you do it. Just help my daughter. Get my daughter the help that she needs." Episode 4 gives us our best look ever at what Gold Star is or who Gold Star is. To this point, we had seen kind of in the background as the B story, kind of a case of the week that Criminal Minds had been known for on their original run that wasn't seemingly that connected, but episode 4 was when we got the answer as to why they're included. Penelope Garcia discovers that Gold Star is not a person, as the BAU thought, but instead a program consisting of 5 members, all of whom appear to have been patients at a mental institution known as the Steward House. The strike team that had been killed throughout the season all had connections to patients that were in the Steward House. The program is called Gold Star because it's 5 points to make up one star. So that's how we learn that there are 5. And the people that we had seen in the standalone cases were a couple of the 5. So we now know that those are connected to Gold Star. We know that Gold Star is a program and it's a team of people. And that's pretty much where episode 4 ended. My theory here is that Voight was telling the truth when he said that he is not Sicarius. And I believe that he's telling the truth because the structure of Gold Star at this point is very similar to the structure that we saw of Elias's network in season 1. And obviously Elias has been in jail, he's been working with the BAU, so he's not pulling the strings. And we also haven't seen all 5 members of Gold Star. We've seen 3 of them to this point. We are led to believe at the end of the 4th episode that the person that we see named Damien is the leader, but something tells me that he's not. I believe that whoever is calling the shots for Gold Star is the real Sicarius. We don't have an idea of who it is, but I'm going to throw out a wild prediction. It could be the director of the FBI, played by Clark Gregg, because he was very adamant in the premiere episodes that he did not want the truth of Gold Star to get out. So there is a possibility that he is Gold Star. I don't think that's the case. That's just a theory that I have. But I do think that Voight is telling the truth when he says that he is not Sicarius, because he does always seem to be one step ahead, but what does he have at this point? He's said goodbye to his children. He now know his daughter wanted to stab him. He's going to jail, other than he's made this deal of helping the BAU for what we assume is a reduced sentence based on how he was talking to Sydney about being there for his youngest daughter's graduation. It doesn't seem like he has enough in the tank to be Sicarius, because he said, "If you want me to say I'm Sicarius so that you could put me to death, basically, I'll do it. Just help my daughter." He has no more chips to play. His family was it. And so that's why I believe that he's telling the truth. but we still have more than half the season to go on Criminal Minds Evolution. I'm really loving it at this point. It's feeling like Criminal Minds again. Season one of Evolution did not feel like the same show as the network show, but this season does have more of those elements that we are familiar with. So I'm really excited to see how this episode finishes out. I'm really excited to see who the leader of Gold Star is, because I don't think we've met them yet, and I'm really enjoying the season. If there's something that you want us to talk about or something you want us to review, leave it in the comments. Subscribe to the channel. I'm Roman for the Real Cinema Squad, and we'll see you on the next video.